Yeah, good morning, students. In the previous session, we had a discussion on the unformatted input-output functions like getChar and putChar functions we have seen for reading a character and displaying of the character. Now, in today's session, we would like to discuss on the formatted input output functions. So now, in this session, we will discuss about this formatted input function, which is a scanf function. We will discuss that. Now, I would like to share my screen. Uh, so this particular session is managing input output operations. So under that managing input output operations, we have this formatted input. So this particular session will develop the students' knowledge on reading the formatted input using scanf function. Generally, in a C language, the console input output functions are categorized into two different types: formatted input output functions and unformatted input output functions. So formatted input output function, under that the scanf is called it as an input function, printf is called it as an output function. So these scanf and printf are used for reading all these basic types of data. You can read a character, you can read a integer, you can read a float value, or you can read a string by making use of these scanf, as well as you can print the any data type value using printf. So these scanf and printf are called it as a formatted input output functions. Now coming to this unformatted input output functions. So in the previous class we had a discussion on this getChar and putChar functions. We have seen that is comes under the character type of data you can read and display. Similar to that getChar, we have getCh function, and getChe function is also there. And similar to that putChar, we have putCh function. So there is no unformatted input output functions for reading of integer type of data as well as floating point data. So for reading of the strings, we have getS and putS functions are there. So these are the classification of different types of unformatted input output functions to read character type of data as well as string type of data. Okay. So now we are going to discuss about the scanf function to read the formatted input. So formatted input refers to an input data that has been arranged in a particular format. So the general syntax of scanf is already we discussed about this scanf function. So we have this control string which is enclosed in double quotes. Then we have argument 1, argument 2, argument 3 and so on, argument n. N number of arguments are there here. So which are nothing but address of the memory locations where you want to store the data. So the control string specifies the field format in which the data to be entered. Okay, so that means what type of data you are entering that. So the control string is also known as format string and kuda antamu. So this is also called it as a format string. So this format string and the arguments are separated with commas. So these are the commonly used format characters uh, with the scanf function. Same type of characters, format characters also be applicable for printf also, except this last one. So all are applicable with the printf also. So percentage C for reading a single character, percentage D decimal value or integer value, percentage E, percentage F for percentage E, F, G. These three are used for floating point values, reading floating point values here. H for short integer. I is also for a decimal or hexadecimal or octal integer you can read. O, percentage O for octal integer, percentage S for string, percentage U for unsigned decimal number, percentage X is for hexadecimal. And percentage square braces, so it is used for reading a string of words, we can use that. So we'll see with an example also. So we can perform the following formatting using scanf function. What type of formatting we can do here is that we can inputting certain characters from the input, skipping certain characters from the input, as well as inputting all types of data we can do with a scanf function. So the conversion specifiers for scanf function are same as the printf function. So formatted input here. So when you want to input the integer values, so what is the field specification for reading an integer number is percentage w. We will specify here. So percentage is indicates that it is a conversion specification. So w is an integer number that specifies the field width to be read, and d is known it as a data type, indicates that the number to be read is an integer mode. Okay, so for example, consider the following example: scanf percentage 2d, percentage 5d, like that we have given here. So 2 indicates that width, field width. D indicates that it is a what we are calling it as the data type, indicating that it is an integer. So if you give this ampersand num1 ampersand num2, and this scanf is used for reading two integer values actually, but if you are giving the data as an input like this 50 space followed by 31426, so the value 50 is assigned to num1 and 31,462 is assigned to num2. Suppose if you are given the value input like this 31426 space 50, so it will, because you have specified percentage 2d, so it will read only the uh, two digits from this given number. So that is only it will read 31, it will read that. So the variable num will be assigned 31 because of percentage 2d, and num2 will be assigned 426. Okay, the unread part of this the unread part of this number is 426, that will be assigned to num2. So the value 50 that is unread will be assigned to the first variable in the next scanf. Okay, so this kind of errors may be eliminated because of using width here. So we are able to uh, introduce some sort of some kind of errors in this particular program. So we use the field specification without the field width. So that is you can write like this: percentage d ampersand num1 ampersand num2. So it will read the data. So if you are given this one will be read into num1, this second value is read to into num2. So if we will specify the width, field width, fine. So that is a recommended. This type of scanf is recommended instead of giving this field width. So an input field may be skipped by specifying star in the place of the field width. In the place of the field width, you can specify star so that we can skip that field from reading. For example, if you have written the statement like this: percentage d, percentage star d, percentage d, ampersand a, ampersand b, will assign the value, will assign the data. For example, 123, 456 and 789, 3 we have given that. So 123 will be assigned to A, and 456 will be skipped, and 789 will be assigned to B. Fine. So it will skip this the value. Okay. So the data type character D may be preceded by letter L to read the long integers, and it can be preceded with H to read the short integers. So LD for long integers, HD for short integers. Fine. So this following program will demonstrate you various input formatting options for reading integers in this particular program. Okay, so if you see this here, how we are reading that: percentage 2d, percentage 4d, simply percentage d, percentage 3d, 4d, 3d, like that. Okay, so this is this example will demonstrate you the various ways of reading the input, integer input. Next, coming to this inputting real data values. So when you want to input real data values through scanf, you are going to use percentage f format specifier. We are using that. So for example, if you write scanf percentage f ampersand x ampersand y ampersand z. So if you are inputting 475.89, 42.21 e minus 1, 678. So we'll assign the value this 47.89 to x, and 4.321 to y. Okay, this will be given to y, and 678 will be given to 678.0 will be given to z. So if the number to be read is of double, we have to make use of percent %lf instead of simply lf format specifier. A number may be skipped by using percentage star f specification, as similar to percentage star d, which we have used in previous case. So we have simply to skip the integer reading. So we have used percentage star d. So this particular program will demonstrate how we are reading the different types of data. Here we are using percentage f as well as percentage e. So which will read the data in the exponential notation also. Okay, percentage lf for double here we are using. Okay, so this particular example will show you how we are reading the data and displaying the data of real numbers data. Fine. So next, coming to this character strings, how you can input the character strings using this scanf. So we have already discussed about getChar function, which is unformatted input function, but scanf is a formatted input function. You can specify the formatting also. As similar to that, here we can use percentage ws for strings, percentage wc for characters. So the corresponding argument should be a pointer type. So percentage c may be used to read a single character when the argument is of a pointer to a character variable. So note that the specification percentage s terminates reading at the encounter when it encounters a blank space. So therefore name 2, if you take it as read only the first part of new arc, because it will read up to the first blank space only, it will read that, and the second part is automatically assigned to the next string name 3. So that is what we are using here basically. If I want to read new arc into this name 2, so there is no blank space here, you will use some hyphen you will use in between that. So it will treat it as a single string. Fine. So that is how you are using here percentage d, percentage 15c. So then percentage d, percentage 15s. Okay, so like that here we are using. So it is better to use, don't specify the width. Simply you can specify percentage d, percentage s, it will read as usual. Okay, what we are expecting. Then another important specification with scanf is that percentage followed by the characters which are enclosed in square braces. It means that only the characters specified within the brackets are permissible in the input string. So if the input string contains any other character, the string will be terminated at the first encounter of such a character. Fine. So similarly, percentage caret of characters. So that is exactly, it will reverse that. So the characters which are specified here in the square braces, excluding those characters, it will read that. Okay, this is called it as circumflex character, we can call it as. Okay, so how we can read that? So in this particular example, you can see that in this scanf percentage a to z means in this particular variable, address variable, it can accept only the alphabets a to z only, it will accept that. Getting my point? So this is how we can read the strings basically. Fine. So now the reflection spot is that what are the different formattings we can do with the scanf function. So lecture objectives revisited here. So this session will develop students' knowledge on reading formatted input using scanf function. So summary of the session is that for IO functionality, the programmers must include the header file stdio.h file within the program. So what type of formatting we can do with the scanf is input formatting, we can do that. The integer data formatting we can done, and also we can skip certain characters from the input, and also we can format the real numbers also, we can format that. So that is what we discussed in this particular session. So this is the lecture level practice problem. So what will be the values stored in the variables year and code when the data we have given 1988 and code as X is keyed as a response to the following statements. So in the first statement, scanf percentage D, percentage C, ampersand year, ampersand code, what value it reads? So it reads 1988 into year and X into this code. For example, if you are given like this, percentage C, percentage D, what is the value it is reading? Okay, percentage D, percentage C, ampersand code, ampersand year, if you are given, what value it reads that. So try to execute this particular scanf statements, what values are reading if you write this particular scanf statements and if you give this input in this particular fashion. Fine. So outcome of this particular session is that after completion of the session, students will able to make use of this formatted input functions, that is a scanf function, to read the appropriate data in their programs. So thank you one and all.